Do 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 do
Welcome back to the Fun Bunker Film School, everybody. Thank you for joining for another episode. I am your co-host, here with my other co-host, Chris. How's it going, Chris?
Hello, everybody. How's it going?
And guys, you're going to be so excited. It's not just us. We've got two students with us tonight. How you doing, fellas?
Doing good.
There's
I'm
David.
doing all right.
Wait, what do we call you? Cole. We just call you Cole. I blanked. I almost called you by your first name. That'd be embarrassing. Yikes.
Super embarrassing.
He doesn't have a first name.
He doesn't. It's just
Nope.
Kolb. Kolb.
Absolutely. Hey, you guys did okay on your Vertigo talk. I don't know why you're so complaining.
I mean, I'm not complaining. I just think people enjoy diversity of listening, you know?
I enjoy the teach.
Oh, that's sweet. Oh, you mean him, right? Yeah.
Correct.
That makes sense. Yep. That makes sense. That's what
I get it.
Yeah. I mean, you know, well, we won't go there. Some Van Halen for you there, but it's good. So tonight we have a special one. Chris, you picked a crazy movie. A crazy one. Very modern, very cutting edge, called Sinners.
Yeah.
Sheesh is what I have to say. Yikes. What a ride.
Yeah. It's a lot of fun. Yeah.
It is a lot of fun. So why did you, well, first of all, what genre? This could fit many genres, first of all, in our thing. So which one does this fit?
If we're just talking like genre of the movie, it's one of the great things about this movie is that it is multiple things at once, as are kind of all of Ryan Coogler's films. But we are putting this in the bleeding edge category, and it is.
There you go.
Yeah. It's a movie that did release in like March of 2025, but I'm actually glad that we're talking about it right now because we are ramping up to Oscar season, and it's kind of funny. We were going to originally record this episode last week or 2 weeks back, and it was going to be the day before the Oscar nominations were announced. And I probably would have said something dumb like, oh, I think it's good. It's going to get Oscar nominations, but, it's not going to be like a front runner or anything. And then it broke the record for most Oscar nominations ever in Academy Award history with 16. Yeah. So it's very much bleeding edge to talk about right now because it is definitely part of film discourse. So very excited to be talking about this.
That only makes me feel dumber for what I'm not going to know, but that's good because that's what we're here to learn. So again, for those that are not as familiar with the Oscars, since it came out in March, that implies it's in the running for this current run of Oscars, correct?
Yes, yeah. The Oscars usually cover the previous year's movies, right? You have the whole calendar year, like January to December, and then you get the Oscar nominations usually come out in mid-January, and then the actual award show is in March. I believe this year it is March 15th. So then
I don't think I actually realized that it was a strict calendar year that it covers. Mm-hmm. There you go.
Yes.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Look at that. See? Already show my ignorance. So we have a front runner choice that we had, we're ahead of the curve because we had already chosen it for our show. So everybody else is just falling in line with what we already know, that this is a cool movie. So that's kind of the first thing that I want to ask you is like, why did you pick it? But when I watched it, that was the first thing I thought was like, movies are cool. Like, this is a cool movie.
It is a cool movie.
That was my first reaction to this in the multitude of things you could say about this movie. So why did you pick it?
I picked it. I'm a big fan of Ryan Coogler and the Ryan Coogler Project. So this is the man who directed. This is his, I believe, fifth film. So he started in 2013 with Fruitvale Station, which was a very a cool kind of like prove it film. And also, all his movies have Michael B. Jordan in them. He's a frequent collaborator. But that movie was taken from a real life event of a man who was wrongfully killed by police. So it's a much smaller movie, but kind of showed that he could make something, and he could make something impactful. And then his next step at the plate, or his next at bat at the plate, was Creed. So he takes on a legacy sequel.
That's right.
In the
it was a
Rocky
huge deal he made
franchise.
that.
Yeah,
Because people were like, "This is like a no-name one film guy."
he hadn't made. Yeah, he'd made one movie, and it was his follow-up, and it was So he makes Creed, and then after that, he gets a even bigger swing. He gets Black Panther, and Black Panther is a massive, massive hit. So after that, he makes Black Panther: Wakanda Forever, which is plagued with unfortunate passing of Chadwick Boseman, and it's also got a bunch of like MCU stuff to deal with. So I think that there's a good movie in Black Panther: Wakanda Forever, but it's buried underneath a bunch of stuff.
That's a tough situation for him.
Yeah. So then this was his follow-up, and it was hotly anticipated because people were such a big fan of Creed and Black Panther. And this was it was going to be, an original story, right? His first movie is an adaptation of a real life event that occurred, or a retelling of a real life event that occurred. Then the next one's a legacy sequel to a boxing, a sports movie franchise. And then he makes two comic book movies. So to see him play in the genre space, with horror, which he had not really done before, doing like a period piece, which he had really not done before, at least nothing quite like this, was really exciting at the time. So I'd been thinking I wanted to cover something that I thought was going to get covered at the Oscars specifically. And I was kind of between this and One Battle After Another, which are I haven't seen all the Best Picture nominees yet, but those were my two favorites. I do like One Battle After Another a little bit more, but I still really like Sinners and wanted to talk about this with more folks.
That's fascinating that you would say you like that more, because I haven't watched it yet. Movie watching time is precious when you got little kids, and that's one that is also resounding throughout the internet as this phenomenal film that you have to see, and you have to see it in IMAX and et cetera, et cetera. Basically, I've already missed the boat, so I just won't watch it, but it's okay. I'm not bitter. But with Sinners,
doesn't sound like it.
Yeah. No, with Sinners, this one is just a crazy movie to watch, because actually I did have a feeling of like, oh man, if I could have watched this in IMAX, that would be crazy. But at the same time, because I would just literally pitch this as such a cool movie, that it was like, no, on my computer is fine. Like, this is great. Like, this is a phenomenal watch anyway. So I'll open it up to the floor. What was people's first reactions to just the, as a whole experience of watching this? Did you know it was an original, to him? Did you know it wasn't based on anything? What did you think of it as a whole movie experience?
I think for me, I'm a Coogler fan. And Creed was probably the first movie that I saw of his, and then I've gone and I've watched all of his other ones, and I just never got around to seeing this one in theaters. Just came out at an inopportune time for me to go to the theaters. So I was really happy when it came up for my assignment, and I had an excuse to watch it. And so I hadn't watched like any of the trailers or done a lot of research on it or anything, because I was hoping to see it in theaters, and then never got around to it. So I actually didn't know about the vampire aspect of it going in. So that was kind of fun. And now like going back and thinking about it, like you see like how all of that is set up beforehand. And
So you
Uh,
like went in just knowing there was a horror aspect to it, but not
yeah,
what
horror
it was.
aspects, 2 Michael B. Jordans, it's better than 1 Michael B. Jordan,
Yeah.
and
Rare
I
footage
knew
of his
that
twin brother.
yeah, I knew that Haley Steinfeld said some questionable things because that gets brought up on the internet a lot, and then um, as far as like like Oscar talk goes, I think this is probably the one that I would be more likely to rewatch between this and One Battle After Another.
Hmm,
But I think One Battle After Another is what I would pick as like the best film of the year.
cool. What about you, Cole?
I forgot the question. I think it was that. What was
What
your
was your
initial thoughts?
Yeah, what was
Or
your
okay,
experience
Yeah.
of the movie from the get go?
experience. Okay. So I put this movie on, not knowing anything about it. Also,
With your kids?
and I was watching it, and I was like, "Wow, this is something else." It's very slow moving and engaging at the same time.
Hmm.
And then something happened where I had to stop the movie, and then I had to wait for the next day to pick it back up. And then I made the silly mistake of watching the trailer in between those times. So the whole vampire thing
Mm,
got ruined. And I was like, wait a minute, this isn't the same movie. It can't be. And then sure enough, as I restarted to rewatch the movie, it happened. It wasn't a joke. This trailer
it
wasn't
was.
a joke. It actually happened.
Yeah.
So I was really engaged to begin with, and that was before I knew it was a vampire movie. So my
So
initial thoughts
that
were,
Yeah.
spoiled it for
this
you.
is good. What?
That spoiled it for you.
In a way, it spoiled it because I didn't. If that came naturally and I didn't know about it, I would have like been knocked out of my chair because of
Mm,
the whole story is set up. I would
yep.
not expect it to be a vampire movie or have vampires in it at least.
Right. Right. Right.
Yeah. I mean, I'm glad you kind of both had some sort of experience like that, because like for me, like as a sicko who follows the industry closer, like I knew going into it that it was a vampire movie, but to the movie's credit, and exactly what Kolb said, the movie does an incredible job of keeping you engaged in just like what is going on in these people's lives, and like them
Yeah.
setting up the juke joint. Like it seems like it's a completely different movie for the first 40 minutes, and it's like,
Hmm.
and not until that first the 40-minute mark of this like 2-hour movie that you get Remick, the main vampire, like landing, like you hear bat flutters, and then he's landing and he's burning in the sun, and and then it's like, so when I'm watching it and I see that scene, I'm like, oh, I forgot, like this is a vampire movie. Like I'm so
Yeah.
I'm so invested in like all of the like the returning home and the crime aspect, and
Hmm.
seeing these people coming back into their lives, and like it's doing a really good job of like giving you exposition without just like making it feel like exposition, like you're learning all these things naturally.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
it's just really, really cool, and it's well written, so it's such an enjoyable movie before you get to, oh yeah, this is a vampire movie and there's going to be lots of carnage.
So it's funny because I remember when it came out, I saw a trailer, like a teaser trailer, in the theaters. I don't even remember what I was seeing. Something with my dad, I think. And it came on, and I just looked at him, and I'm like, nope. Like that's not gonna be me. I think it was just a clip of like zooming out of the burning down the barn scene where it's like it's supposedly burned down because he played so well, and it's
Yeah,
just them
yeah.
dancing, and it just looks very like a cultish sort of thing, and that was it. It was just this teaser, and I was like, that looks terrifying. I'm not gonna do that. And then I remember it came out, and I'm like, I don't have time. Same as David. I didn't make it to theaters, blah blah blah. And I was like, I don't know. And then I asked Chris, maybe even Victor. I was like, y'all saw it. Just give me like one little thing, because I'm not gonna watch it for forever. And all you said was vampires. That's it. And I was like, cool. And that was it. So I knew that they had vampires in it, and that actually intrigued me more. But I was so engaged because it was just, I think the best way I could describe it is it was not the movie I expected
Hmm.
at all. like you were saying, I was watching this very simple story unfold. That was what impressed me the most as I look at storytelling. It's an incredibly simple story with a ton of detail on the front, like you never see. You learn through, like Chris said, exposition, and then it continues on into the credits, right? Like there's whole tales not told to you, and you just get this really amazing snippet of a short story of one day, and that's it. And it just felt
Yeah.
so like encapsulating that I was just very engaged. And like you said, until Ramek shows up, I'm like, oh, there he is. That's the guy that's burning in the sun. That's what I was supposed to be looking for. And just the
Yeah.
different aspects of it brings in so many different things that you're supposed to engage with, like race relations and generational pain and trauma, and the historicity of what's going on. And then there's like some psychedelic time traveling sort of mixes that happen that are just really surreal. So it's really, really well done. It's good.
Yeah.
It's good.
It like I joked about at the beginning that this movie like fits into a bunch of genres, but maybe the genres are more like tropes. Like there's a bunch of different kind of storytelling devices and themes that are all intertwined. Like you said, it's a movie that takes place all in one day. It's a movie that is like a sort of like a crime kind of thriller heist thing. It is a horror
Mhm.
movie with vampires. It is also a movie about racism in 1930s Mississippi.
Yeah, like 36, I think.
1932,
32.
Clarksdale, Mississippi.
Clarksdale.
Very specific, actually. That's a detail I can bring up later. But
Yep, bring it up.
it's yeah, like you said, it's a movie about music, and it's a movie about faith and spirituality and religion, and there's a lot of kind of I think Christian themes in a lot of Coogler's films, and this is one
And
that
a lot
I think
of
has
African, a lot of African beliefs as well, tribal beliefs.
yeah, absolutely. And
because
like
I even
way,
felt some of that spiritualism from Black Panther came to mind when he's
Oh, yeah.
walking with his ancestors, and then at the very end you have that scene. That was what popped in my brain, was the spiritualism kind of bringing crossing borders there.
Absolutely. And then the way he ties all of those ideas in with like the making it relate to we're a bunch of white guys recording this, but you relates it to the modern Black experience. But
that
he
wasn't lost on me
also
when we started doing this.
he also does it in a way that I think a lot of the best directors, like I mean, like Martin Scorsese makes very Italian movies, right? And they are steeped in Italian culture, Italian American culture. But they are also extremely relatable to just the human experience. And I think that's what Coogler does really well, as his movies are steeped in African American culture, but he is able to portray things in such a manner that is both authentic to that and is also incredibly just humanistic and relatable by just about anybody.
Yeah, I wouldn't even come close to trying to capture that, as some of my friends that have gone and seen it would be able to do, that are African American and have that heritage. But they've spoken to that there's a relatability that is deep with some of his works. So that's really cool that you bring that up.
Yeah.
I'm curious, as you think about, because you picked this movie as, the bleeding edge category. There's a lot of reasons for that too. Like, it's not just a cool movie, but there's some really technically cool things, like the aspect ratio play, the music. Let's talk about that for a minute, because you've dove into that on different movies, but this one plays with like zooming in, zooming out, changing aspect ratios, music styles changing and cueing.
Sure. Yeah. Okay. So we can talk about the aspect ratio changes. So this is a movie that it was fronted by Warner Brothers, and so working with Warner Brothers, Ryan Coogler gets to also consult with Christopher Nolan, director who I don't even have to probably name those movies, The Dark Knight and Interstellar and Oppenheimer. Like, he's one of the biggest directors in Hollywood, and he has
What's
been
his name again?
Something Crumpstopher Noden.
That's it.
Yeah, there it is. He's a British guy. But so he works with Christopher Nolan. Christopher Nolan has a history of working with IMAX cameras. I'm trying to remember if The Dark Knight was the first one that he really worked with. But now he's doing movies like shot entirely in IMAX. And there's a load of complications that come with that. Like the IMAX cameras are huge and loud, but the technology has gotten better over time. And the sort of demand for these big cinematic experiences has also grown. So Ryan Coogler gets to work with 70 millimeter IMAX film and films a number of sequences in the movie on them. And there's a great video on like Kodak's YouTube channel where you can watch Ryan Coogler describe the differences between film. Like if you want somebody to actually describe to you the differences in film stock and how films are like presented in theaters and stuff, he literally like has strips and shows like this is like 8 millimeter, that was like in like home cameras, in the 80s and 90s. Then 16 millimeter was like the next step up, and then 35 millimeters like the most common. This is what I shoot most of my films on. And then here's the 70 millimeter, and he talks about all these different formats that you could have gone and seen Sinners in, and he really nerds out about it. So that's a lot of fun. And he then goes and works with, and I'm trying to remember the cinematographer on this one. They are kind of like the new Roger Deakins, and I want to say it's the same person that shot Black Panther. One of the great things about Coogler is that he's become one of these guys that collaborates with the same people over and over again. So you also mentioned like music. One of the other elements that he shares with Christopher Nolan is that they both now use for their music, this guy Ludwig van Gorensen. I probably completely butchered his name, but he's basically like the new John Williams or Hans Zimmer. He's already won Academy Awards for his scores. They're all really good. All the latest Nolan movies have been using them. Ryan Coogler, I believe, has used his scores for all of them since at least Black Panther. I don't know if he did the one for Creed as well. He might have, but he's doing like awesome stuff. Like he's already like in that echelon with those guys I mentioned, your Hans Zimmers and your John Williamses. He's awesome. So that is a big part of the movie too. Like the score does this great job of blending the blues, like the really good 1930s and older blues, while also having these stings. Like the first time, like there's the sequence in the the middle of the movie where Preacher Boy, the character played by Miles Caton, who is an actual blues singer himself, a young blues singer. You have this sequence where like he's like playing the blues, and he is there's this talk of how the music can connect to spirits from the past and the future, and you get that kind of literalized in the movie language. I don't think it's like it's not like actually happening. It's kind of like this hallucinogenic dream theater kind of thing happening. But you see electric guitarists, and you see ancient African drummers, and you see all of these like other elements of like music throughout like Black history, past, future, and present. And then when that sequence like ends, it zooms out. Like it's that shot you were talking about from like the teaser trailer, when it zooms out and the barn is all burned up, metaphorically, I guess. And Remick is outside. He's like been called to it. And there's like that big, like distorted guitar, almost like just like a big metal power chord that just rings out. And it's like, oh yeah, like this movie is really like branching across all of these cool music genres, and like how they all work, like they all fit. Like blues is definitely at the forefront, but like that whole sequence, somehow works. And then you get this like awesome like metal sequence that's like reminds you like, oh yeah, hey, by the way, the vampires are here.
yeah, just FYI.
Yeah.
they did show up.
Yeah.
And they brought
and they mix that with the Irish,
from good
like
old North Carolina Irish. They brought some picking and grinning with their fiddles.
Yes.
So that music that they play is also truly authentic to. They said they're from North Carolina, and that is authentic to Appalachian Mountains, North Carolina. Bluegrass is insanely authentic, and it's from that deep heritage of like, you know, the Irish
people coming from Ireland who
and then
were also a people that had their land taken. Like it's a very like, and they make those great like allusions and parallels between the history of Ireland and having a Christian religion maybe forced upon them by the English. Same kind of thing happens with Africa and the African Americans.
And they're trying to make it blend, and they're like, "No, we don't
have their own culture still shine through.
We don't want your vampire-ness." That was actually a cool. So we're gonna twist into the plot now, because that was a cool plot device that I liked. Was let's start with Ramek, and then I want to hear from our students because we're gonna move into plot now, and I appreciate that technical bit, Chris, because I was really curious about that. So Ramek gets presented, and as the movie goes on, you realize he's probably extremely old. Like he references basically old country stuff, like when my father had his original land and like somebody came and like that, like that's how I remember the Our Father
5th century or 6th century Irish history. Yeah.
And even when he's like battling with people, like his claws are really long and he lasts longer with a stake in him. And there's things that like imply he's this elder vampire figure, you know, like the Dracula sort of figure that has control over people and et cetera, et cetera. And so that was fascinating to me because he's like an immigrant that's come across from the old country into the United States and is like making his way down south to Mississippi. So that was very fascinating just from a lore perspective. So for you guys, I want to hear from some students now. As we transitioned in from the first 40 minutes of like setup of these people's lives and like, you know, the Smokestack brothers are re-entering and they're realizing their dream coming back 7 years later. And then you transition into vampire mode. Cole, you mentioned that the spoiler happened and it was less impactful, but was it less enjoyable or did you enjoy the transition into, we've moved into what is now a monster movie?
Yeah, you're right. The impact was definitely lessened, but enjoyment levels, no, they were still up there. I wasn't disappointed that it transitioned into a vampire movie necessarily, even though I really did enjoy the first, you know, however long it was until the vampire showed up. But no, this guy, he knows how to make a monster movie. So much so that like the pacing was so well done that the moment the Chinese lady's like, "Hey, come on in, you monsters." I was like, "Oh, they're already getting to this scene." The movie's like only, and I look at the time, I'm like, "Oh, it's been an hour and 40 minutes." Like,
yeah,
I guess it is time for this movie to kind of wind down a little bit. So no, I was not.
That was crazy.
It was. Crazy.
She's the one that finally let him in.
Right. Yeah. So I wasn't disappointed with the transition to the monster part because it flowed so well, and my interest was so engaged that I didn't realize how much time had gone by.
That's
a sign of a good movie.
That's a sign of a good movie. David, what about you? What was that transition like for you?
Yeah, I think I loved seeing what his take on vampires was going to be, just because there's been so many different types of vampires in pop culture. You know, that range from this kind all the way to Twilight, you know, for those types of vampires where they sparkle. It's the skin of a killer.
They do sparkle.
But yeah, and these are much more of the Bram Stoker, like Dracula, Black Court vampire, if you're a Dresden fan. They adhere to all of those old rules, and I loved like seeing how that played out. Like when the bouncer, he's eventually turned and he's trying to get back in, like that whole conversation where as a vampire he's trying to get his way in and get an invite, and they're like, you don't need our like you're bigger than all of us. Why don't you just come in? And he can't just like outright say it. So like I loved like that bit of script writing. That was all really fun to watch unfold.
Yeah, so I'm glad you brought this up. So quick poll here. Just I would say show of hands, but since this is audio, you need to say it. So like, how many other vampiric movie experiences have you had? Because like I realized that I'm missing some. So I haven't seen Blade, but like I grew up with a soft spot for like the underworld movies, as
Oh sure.
As awful as they are, as far in quality. I just watched one, when I was preteen and teen. I was like, oh, these are so cool. And so, I love the underworld movies. There's Twilight, of course, and there's a slew of others. So like, what are some other vampire movies that were playing in your head of like, oh yeah, vampires, this is what I'm about to see?
I don't think I have a whole lot. Like I haven't seen any of the or like Interview with a Vampire or Dracula, or I didn't see Nosferatu. That one looked a little bit too much for me.
Chris, did you see that one?
I love the new Nosferatu. I'm such a sucker for. I mean, Robert Eggers' stuff is such my like Luke and I always use that. Like this is my exact style. Like all of Robert Eggers' stuff is like dark medieval fantasy mixed blend with like extreme gothic horror. And so
I'm interested in it. Maybe on a bright sunny day, I'll watch it. Other than that, What We Do in the Shadows is kind of like my main vampire exposure.
I love What We Do in the Shadows. Yes.
What We Do in the Shadows is such a great. That's what should be playing in your head as you're watching Sinners. Is just What We Do in the Shadows.
Yeah, it's unfortunate because the campy and the funny are where my vampire experiences come in. So yeah, What We Do in the Shadows, and then my brother was a huge fan of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Sarah Michelle Gellar version, and that's not necessarily scary. It can get a little goofy at times, and that's most of my experience with vampires come in. So yeah, the scary, the bloody, the lore of the rules that vampires have to follow. Mm-hmm. I couldn't help but laugh at certain parts because I was like, hey, that's what they did and what they do in the shadows as a joke.
Right. Yeah.
Would you let us in, please?
It's true. It's just I love What We Do in the Shadows. That is a good, just such a funny take on both the documentary movie, the mockumentary movie from 2014 and the TV show. Both are so good. But the only other one I think I'd throw out there.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Chris.
Oh yeah, the only other one I'd throw out there would be. Did you guys ever see 30 Days of Night? It's kind of like a B movie from
that sound familiar.
Mid 2000s. I felt like that'd be like a
maybe.
I feel like that's one
in college.
I was gonna say it feels like one we watched in Kolb's dorm room or something. It feels like a movie.
Josh Hartnett in Alaska.
Yes, that's a cool one.
I think we did watch that
one. Yeah.
Anyway, well,
I've got one more that I'll bring up actually because it's very closely tied to this, but that'll be for the streamer category.
Cool. Bring it up later. No, but I do love the rules thing. I think it brings a classic feel. Because that's more like the fairy tale, old magic sort of feel to it, mm-hmm. Underworld is very sci-fi, let's go fight werewolves.
It's slick. Yeah.
Slick.
Yeah. Rainy. Let's put on our leather outfits and
it's the Matrix.
Watch Kate Beckinsale flip around.
Yep. There you go. That's exactly what it is.
Definitely.
And then Twilight is all teen romance, yada, yada, yada. Which that's
it's a different take for sure. And I think
this one, is like is not pretty. Like there's also, you know, a stereotype that vampires are all like sleek and seductive, and this one is not that way. Like they look very human until they don't. So like
Okay, I see what you're saying.
they could act that way, but if they act like a vampire, it is
I do love
grotesque
that about
and
Remick,
insane. You know what I mean?
like because he looks normal most of the time, and then like once the fight breaks out and you see his hand for the first time, and like the claws, you know, on his hand kind of start to grow, you're like, oh yeah, this is a vampire, and the fangs start to show. Cool little touches like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and even like how like when his eyes start to turn or any of them, and they immediately start to drool, like it's like really intense, like they are becoming a vampire.
Could
So
I
anyway,
argue that
sure.
while the vampires maybe aren't always as seductive, other than like Mary once she turns and gets back in and
Sure.
seduces Stack, that there is like there's a sexiness to the film itself that like I feel like you don't get in a lot of modern movies anymore, whether you view that as a good or a bad thing. It's still like there's a lot of good looking people, and like the allure of sex and like all vices, like also alcohol, also gambling, also,
Sure.
you know, even just like partaking in the blue, you know, like partaking in blues music, like all of these vices, I think are also stand-ins for greater like temptation and of sin in general that kind of like matches up along with the themes of vampirism.
Yeah, I
And
think so.
yeah,
I think arguing that as a thrust of the film and the way the film is shot is 100%. And
yeah.
I forgot I almost made a joke at the beginning that this is basically just a cautionary tale against playing rock and roll. Like that's the end of this. This is the whole story. And he fails, by the way. Spoiler. He
Yeah, right. I
still
mean, yeah.
is seduced by the blues.
Sin and
He,
salvation of a kind are pretty deep themes of the movie, right down the, you know, it's in the title.
yeah, and I think it's like it is definitely that they're alluring in the sense of like a siren song. So like even when they're playing their songs out in the field and they're just like, you know, 50 yards away, you could see them from the door. And the, you know, the kid, preacher boy, he's like, they're singing, don't you hear it? And he's like halfway getting drawn in because he loves
Some of
music.
like, yeah, I think Stack at one point is like, they
Yeah,
actually
he's like,
sound pretty good. Like,
get back in the door. And that's when it goes into the whole sequence of the bluegrass and stuff like that. And so that it's not that they're not, it's just, it's not like Twilight, you know, like, oh, I'm the weak.
no, it's not like Twilight or what's the HBO show? True Blood.
Oh, True Blood.
That's another one where it's just like it's literally models, you know, like all the vampires are like supermodels or whatever, and it's very plain that way. Yeah, you're right. It's not like this.
These are like
yeah.
dangerous. Oh, it's like at the very, 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 very beginning with the truck. They're like rattlesnakes. They're like dangerous, like smooth gliding rattlesnakes. That's what they are. Super dangerous. Don't get close. You're gonna get bit, sort of thing. And then, you know, it's all there. You just, if you're paying attention, which, you know, Smoke's ex-wife, wife, like she is paying attention, so she notices first because she's, you know, she's in tune with the spiritual realm, and so she's like, nah, let's not let them inside.
This isn't right. Yeah,
they don't seem okay, which is wise. So she calls them something first, and I cannot remember. Yeah, what is that? Has to be some legitimate like lore.
I believe
there.
it's like a okay, it's a variation
like
of like haunt. It's like a ghost, yeah, or a ghoul. Like it's a spirit of kinds.
Yeah.
Like she just something not to be trusted, that it was not human.
Right. So it just takes body, about like a body snatcher sort of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. I love that stuff. Yeah, there was a lot of so there was a lot of shots that reminded me of other movies for on purpose or not. Two immediately were like I got a lot of Thing vibes at different times.
Oh yeah,
so many Thing vibes.
that was on purpose for sure.
Yeah, like flame things burning, different things like that. And then this one might make you laugh, but legitimately when his is just the shot of Smoke's face and he's got the tear, I'm like, all I can see is Will Ferrell with his choking out his dog in I Am Legend. And I'm like, oh, this is throwing me back to another, controversial vampire or not, movie.
Yeah,
The books were vampires. Did you say Will Ferrell?
Yeah, I just
it's a much different I Am Legend.
That's a different. I Am Legend.
I
was trying to remember the scene in Anchorman where Will Ferrell choked out Baxter.
I'm not even mad. I'm just impressed as he chokes him out. No, Will Smith is choking out his dog in I Am Legend, which Cole was correct which I have read the book, and in the book, very clearly vampires. They even like called him, same as the ones here, and they asked him to come out. But they changed it in the movie as an infected, almost half vampire, half zombie thing. But that's what it made me think of, is like Will Smith losing his dog and he's all sad, and I was like, this is what this is flashing to. So what movies came to y'all's mind as you're watching this particular one?
Can I chime in on the thing again?
Please do, while they think.
Yeah. I mean, it was a big inspiration. It's one that Coogler mentioned a lot in interviews too, as one. And I think there's the scene where they are trying to determine if anybody still in the barn is a vampire, and so they take shots of pickled garlic, and that's totally the blood test scene from The Thing. Like that's direct inspiration right there.
That was that one made me like clue in so much. Because two of them quiver like weird with the garlic, and I'm like, no, you're.
Oh yeah, because Perline doesn't like the taste of garlic in general, and so she doesn't want to take it. And then Delta Slim, my personal goat, Delta Slim,
the man who slits his wrist and says, "The last call." And he's like, Slim.
That Irish beer, he almost vomits or whatever. And it's just that he's so drunk.
Just not used to that Irish beer. It's a bad time to have a hangover because they about to kill you. But yeah, and none of them were. And then they go back and they're like, "Did you check if it was blood?" And they're like, "Nope, that was beer." So bad.
Yeah,
I was like, that poor man. He's about to die. Yeah. So what about you guys? Any movies?
I do think I saw some of the Christopher Nolan influences, specifically in how he does the transition from, for lack of a better term, like the regular aspect ratio to that IMAX aspect ratio. When the fight really fully starts and it kind of zooms in from the ground, kind of slowly floats up and then back to kind of get you that wider angle. I feel like I've seen that in several Nolan movies.
I love that. Cole, for you, anything?
As the minutes pass by in this episode that we're recording, I'm realizing that I am definitely a student here because I feel so underqualified with these questions. No, I couldn't tell you a single movie that it reminded me of.
That's okay.
All right. I wish I could give you some grand answer chest, but I just can't.
And that's all right.
You get a lot of Boss Baby vibes.
It is.
Yeah.
Boss Baby.
Yeah, that's good. No, this is a no shame podcast, Cole. You're just come on. I've never seen this movie.
And the cool thing is that, I mean, just the more stuff you watch, the more stuff you will connect the dots on. One of the cool things that I think a lot more directors are doing, I don't know where this trend kind of really started, but directors are talking a lot more about the specific movies that they watched leading up into directing their movies. So if you go talking about One Battle After Another, Paul Thomas Anderson published a whole thing of his syllabus for if you want to understand where my head was at when I was making One Battle After Another, watch the Battle of Algiers and watch all of these other movies. and like you're seeing that a lot more. Emerald Fennell's Wuthering Heights is coming out pretty soon, and like she laid out a whole bunch of movies that she was like, if you like watch these movies and you'll understand what I'm trying to say with Wuthering Heights. And Coogler kind of did the same thing. He talked a lot about a few different movies, including The Thing, when he was talking about making this. And all these guys too, they like to pay homage and echo, the stuff from before as well. So like that's can be kind of the trick of watching some older movies, is that you end up seeing stuff that you're like, oh, that's just kind of like formulaic or something, but then you maybe might realize that this guy was actually the first guy to do it, or the guy to popularize it, and they've been copied so many times since then. So yeah.
Oh, I love it. Well,
fine. Shaun of the Dead. There you go.
There you go.
That's they're in a bar. Right there. They're getting attacked by people they used to know as people, and now they're monsters.
I mean, it fits.
Yeah,
it fits. It's funny, but it actually
takes
fits.
place all in one day. Yeah,
it takes place all in one day.
Monster invasion. Yeah,
he has to fight his best friend with a stick.
Yep. See,
so I mean, come on, you couldn't have picked a monster movie where a man fights his best friend with a stick.
Yeah.
To the death. So,
can I ask about what you guys felt about like the performances and the characters? And we can just start talking like about Michael B. Jordan and playing like twins. Like that's a move that doesn't always work in movies, but what did you guys think about this?
Other people have done this. Multiple people that I could think of. Shoot. His name is escaping me. This is embarrassing. He's an excellent. Played in a boxing movie. Played Bane.
Tom Hardy.
Tom Hardy did this with gangsters, nonetheless. Mm-hmm. Actually, yeah.
What is that movie called?
I don't remember. I didn't see it, but that's one that pops to mind. However, we're gonna stick to Michael B. Jordan, who did a great job, and I think he did a great job. This is my take, because he didn't try to make the characters that different. He made them slightly different. So they are very similar, but they have slight different edges. One's more cautious, one's more jovial, but they're not like exorbitantly different people where it's so wild that you're just like, you have to look for, if they just wore the same clothes because they're the same actor, you would be like, oh, like which one is which? But they have different like styles to what the hats they wear and different things like that.
Blue and the red. Yeah.
Yeah. The blue and the red. One is more, like laid back and laughing, but they finish each other's senses sort of vibes, and they're very much in sync, twin style, and so they do act enough alike where you don't feel like you're getting a whole different performance. Which to me is even more masterful, because it's like slight tweaks of like, in this situation, this twin would act this way. But it's not overblown. It's just subtle, like with the money thing. He get like when the wooden nickels hit the counter, one twin sees the other twin reacting. Stack sees Smoke. Smoke is getting upset, and Stack slides in and is like, "It's okay, we're gonna take it." And then they go in the back. They have their little fight about like, this is not okay. This is okay. Mm-hmm. And that's when the personalities to me show really well. Is that he has good mastery over like, this is what they would have been upset about. I'm all about the money. I'm all about the relationship. And it's like ulterior things, not overblown characteristics.
I haven't seen such masterful twin action like this since Parent Trap with Lindsay Lohan.
Yeah, baby.
It's no, just kidding. No, I think
I'm not.
The subtle differences between just an older and younger brother, even though they're twins. Like, is it? Yeah, Smoke is the older one,
Smoke's
and
the older one.
that protective responsibility that he has is very subtle in his acting compared to the way he acts with the other one. Like you said, he's more jovial. Chess, you said that. I think it's just, the younger brother irresponsibility compared to the older brother, the way an older brother would act. So Michael B. Jordan did a great job with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I mean I
Did
did
you have anything
watch
to
like
add that, David?
a little video on like how they did the filming for it, and like this crazy like rig that he had to like wear kind of like around his head whenever he was filming those scenes. And so just the admiration to be able to like act while having something like that going on, not only for Michael B. Jordan but also for the people that are acting with him. Like you're talking about the difficulties
Mm-hmm.
of shooting with IMAX earlier and how they're like so loud and everything. And I read or saw an interview recently with Matt Damon where he was talking about how that's been really interesting on the Odyssey, like having this really loud camera like right up in your face and still like trying to have like a regular conversation when doing the acting. So being able to
Hmm.
uh do that performance, with this giant rig around himself, and then going and changing into the other twins outfit, coming back, and then I'm assuming like reshooting it and having to flip that switch between the younger and the older brothers. I thought
Yeah.
it was really, really impressive.
Yeah, I know they had some doubles, like some double work and stuff, where they had like somebody that like was his like similar like build and stature. But then like there's shots like the one of the first times you see them, and they like are waiting for that guy who ends up being like the clan leader or whatever to buy
He's a
the
great
old
dragon of the
slaughterhouse. Yeah, I know, the old
Terrible.
slaughterhouse off of them.
Somehow that's
and
the least like horrible thing they face at the end of the movie is like just fighting the clan, and you're like, oh, this
it's like
is
a different
mild.
kind of vampire, right? We can
Yeah,
get into that, but yeah,
this is fine. We'll just battle
yeah.
these guys.
But like there's just a shot there where they're waiting and like they share a cigarette, and I think about how actually like crazy that is to convincingly pass an object between two people that are not they're not both there at the same time. Like that's impressive, like visual effects work,
Yeah, it is
but
good.
yeah, I do love that this is a movie that's like also like a like getting the gang together kind of movie too, and the way they go around and collect all the different people that would then be there to fight the vampires at the end, even though that's not why they're they're there in the first place. But they get like the Asian grocery store people, and they get Delta Slim, to help out with music, and they get Cornbread to be the bouncer, yeah, and Annie to cook the food, and then you have that whole aspect with her connection with Smoke and their child that they had lost together. Like all that stuff is just so cool, and I love the way that this movie, which is an original story, is able to inject so much like life and just like a lived in world in these characters.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I do think that I didn't recognize many actors, and I think that's good. I think I enjoyed it a lot more because I really only recognized two, three if you count both Michael B. Jordans, and that was to his credit. Like I enjoyed not seeing faces I recognized. Like it was less distracting to a really good original story that was unfolding. The music was phenomenal. So like I didn't realize that guy was an actual blues player, which makes total sense.
Yeah,
I think that was a great move if you're gonna make blues so central to put that sort of person in there. Because he really didn't like most of his acting centered around music. He would be talking about music or playing, or he wasn't like a key dialogue person often. He was mainly there bringing the guitar. So he really brought the presence of the musician into the scenes
Which
that he was in.
fun note, that guitar that he
go
like
ahead.
carries around was like the actual guitar that Ludwig composed the score on. I saw that in an interview with him.
Oh, that's cool.
That's cool.
I love that. Then he smashed it into a vampire's head. It's a bummer, but gotta do what you gotta do.
Yep.
I will say Delta Slim Dustin Slim was stealing the show. He was so funny.
He's
He was
awesome.
good. I was glad you said he was the goat, because yeah, when he's drawing all the vampires to himself, I was like, that dude is so cool. It was because it was just ridiculous. He's like, nah, y'all go, and he's whoosh. And
Yeah, he
I was like, what are you doing?
cuts his arm open. Like he
Yeah,
cuts it like crazy deep. Yeah.
Oh yeah, he just goes crazy on his arm, and then he's like, "Last call on Delta Slim," and he just hops up on the stage and trying to draw as many vampires to himself. So
I
it
love
was,
a
it was
good
great.
a moment like that in a movie, that the guy that the secondary character that makes the big sacrifice and takes on a huge horde. That
Oh
always
yeah,
gets me. I
and
always
it,
love
it
it.
had a whole scene. He's like flopped on the ground. They're like eating him.
Yeah.
There was also, I forgot. It also reminded me a little bit of, but not funny. Had some modern twists of the history piece of like to Django Unchained, but Django Unchained feel of like, throwing back into a heritage piece, but having some like, it feels a little more modern than a historicity to it. So I like that too.
Yeah.
And yeah, as far as the acting goes, like Kolb said, I forgot I was watching the movie, and so that to me says everything about the performances.
For sure. Yeah, I like that you brought up Tarantino's Django Unchained as well. Like, I mean, another movie, that I think about the, like, we could talk about the whole clan aspect too, right? Like, so they get through
Yeah.
that entire night.
I'll give you.
They
give
fight
you a
the
couple
vampires.
Couple minutes.
What was that?
I'll give you a couple minutes because we're rounding
Okay.
out the hour. So go
Okay,
to
yeah,
the
yeah.
clan.
So they get through that entire night. They fight the vampires. Like they are successful, but like Smoke and Sammy are the only survivors seemingly. And Sammy goes back to town to kind of just save himself and find his dad, the preacher. But Smoke stays to kind of take care of the clan that he kind of assumes is coming, or knows is coming or whatever. And it's like they fight these different vampires or whatever. But then you get this great catharsis that I think you get in Django Unchained, and also like in Glorious Bastards from Tarantino, where you get to watch the hero of the movie take down the actual historical evil figure from the past in just like crazy, glorifyingly violent fashion, so to speak. And so, yeah, I think that's also just a very fun element to the movie, because that's a scene that I don't know if you fully need, other than it does give the ending for Smoke, where he gets to kind of finally be released, and he gets to be back with Annie and their past child. And that's a beautiful moment that, in a movie that doesn't balance the tones as well, I think might be a little bit hokey.
Yeah, it was wild what he was balancing, because he's balancing this beautiful, touching moment, which in most movies it would have hard cut, like shoot the bad guy, hard cut.
But that comes after he's like taking, like, he's just like shooting up these guys with giant like World War I machine guns and like Tommy guns that you assume are stolen from Al Capone in Chicago.
Yep. But the guy's not dead. Like, he sees his wife. He's not hallucinating, but he's seeing, like, passing
visioning
on.
It.
And then the guy calls him back, and he just kind of like wearily turns and is like, "Are you still alive?" And then he just like lights him up with the machine gun.
Mm-hmm.
And then he turns back and like receives his child. So it's like both playing out at the same time.
I may have looked way too far into that last scene then. Because him and his brother left their town in Mississippi to go work in Chicago for the money, probably getting ill-gotten money, right?
Yeah.
And then
it was not gotten well.
Right. And seemingly he left his wife after his child died to do that. And then this last scene happens and he does all that stuff. And what snaps him back out of his kind of fantasy is the guy offers him money. He says, "I got a lot of money And instead of taking that money like he probably would have in the past, he chooses the fantasy of his family. So
Yeah.
maybe I look too far into that.
No, I think you're dead on.
No,
Oh,
you're
good.
good. He chose to pass on into the afterlife,
And that was
with his
like her
family sort of thing.
main thing too, is like she said, like, if it comes to it, like, I don't want to turn into one of them, so like I need you to end it because I want to be with our son again. And so like, because you know the movie kind of like it does make some of the vampirism stuff like kind of sound enjoyable. So, and to contrast that with that scene and getting to be with his child again, who he didn't get to watch grow up, is really, really beautiful. And I think it was the perfect ending to that storyline.
Yeah, that's good.
And contrasts so well with Stacks, and we can talk about the like the true ending. I don't even know what you call it, like the mid credits kind of like scene that comes, where it fast forwards to the 1990s, and Sammy is grown up, and he's Buddy Guy. He's like into like a blues legend, but he beats Stack and Mary again, who are now completely dressed in early 90s hip hop garb. And you know, they've survived these 60 years, and were basically told by Smoke and Stack, like they because they did not die when they were when Remick died.
Because they were inside the building.
Yeah, they didn't get like the sunlight and everything, and they weren't part of the hive mind or whatever. But they survive, and so then they Smoke, you know, made him promise not to take him or whatever, but they still offer that to him, you know, like that one last time. But Sammy doesn't take it. He's already kind of taken. He's already taken he chose his path or whatever in the 30s. He chose to leave the church and leave things behind. But then, you know, he asks Stack, like, you know, like he's like, I still think like until that night, it was the best day of my life, you know, and I love that ending where Stack says, he's just like, I think it was for me too. Last time I saw the sun, and it's the last time I saw my brother alive. And yeah, so it's like, he said there's that allure of vampirism. Like he still seems to be having a good time, and he's looking, you know, they're obviously having fun in the 90s in Chicago, maybe watching Michael Jordan and the Bulls, but
Bulls games. They're just chilling.
But they, you know, it's a different form of salvation that ultimately isn't rewarding, right?
Yeah. The Remick offer, you know, that's what he keeps peddling, is like, no, like he's so smooth. He's like, it's just love, and like, I promise this is a better life than whatever you know, like, we're the same. Like you said, the Irish, you know, being suppressed. He's trying to play this, like, we're the same, me and you together. But then they just don't buy it.
Yeah. Because there's always still, like, he's always still longing for something, right? He's attracted by that siren call because he wants to connect with his past.
And he wants to go.
And same for Stack at the end, right? He goes to Sammy because he wants to hear 1930s steel guitar blues again. He wants to hear it live. He doesn't like the electric stuff, you know?
Yeah.
So
you can have it all. You can live forever, but you are also going to lose everything in the end. So there you go. Yeah. There's our philosophy class at the very end of Sinners. Go watch Evangelion if you want some more.
Yeah.
So there we go. There you go. Colt shaking his head.
Yeah. Should we go to our Oscars corners?
Oscars corners and streamers.
So Oscars corners can't fully happen yet.
No,
we don't, because we don't know.
We don't know. But what's it been nominated for?
Yeah, I'll read them.
Everything.
It's pretty much. I mean, so it's kind of wild because the previous record was 14 that had been tied by a few different movies. But there was one category that it got nominated for that's a new category this year. But that means that even if that category wasn't here, it still would have beaten the record.
So even without that category, it was more than 14.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
So
crazy.
I'll go from the bottom up. So best visual effects, best sound, best production design, best original song, and is specifically the "I Lied to You" song with that's in the middle with the big vision. Best makeup and hairstyling, best costume design, and that's with Ruth Carter, and she actually already won an Academy Award for Black Panther, doing the costume and
Nice.
design for Black Panther. So this is another one that she's worked with Ryan Coogler on. Best film editing, best cinematography for Autumn Durald. Thank you, David. He sent me that in a DM earlier. Best casting, that's the new category. Is there's a category for casting directors and getting these actors together. So like Delroy Lindo, the guy who plays like Delta Slim, like getting guys like him, and getting these actors together. That is a feat in of itself that can go wrong for a movie. Best original screenplay by Ryan Coogler. Then it's got 3 acting categories. So it's got best supporting actress for Wunmi Musaku, who is Annie, the Smoke's wife or ex-wife, ex-girlfriend, whatever. Delroy Lindo, Delta Slim, my goat, best supporting actor. Best actor, Michael B. Jordan. And then best director, Ryan Coogler, and best picture. So will it win some of those big ones? Who knows? Like, I really have no idea. I could see actually it maybe fighting in those supporting actor and supporting actress. Actors pretty thick. But like a lot of those, like what they call the below the line, like the technical categories, like cinematography and costume design and song and score, like I think it has as good a chance to win as anything there. And the sheer volume, usually also like the sheer volume of nominations, it doesn't always mean that those movies are going to win, but it does mean that a lot of the voting bodies, which are from like, it's like the cinematographers are the ones that nominate the nominees for best cinematography, and the costume designers are the ones that nominate
because they know their stuff.
Yeah, having a lot of those guilds like support movie bodes well for it. So
nice.
Yeah, we'll see. Oscars are March 15th, so
which you will do an episode looking over stuff for that.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
you go. Love it
for sure.
We'll look forward to that. So streaming wise, someone wants to watch something similar to Sinners.
Yes.
What would be up their alley?
So the movie that I think this is the most closely tied to that I alluded to earlier, like I was going to mention, is a movie called From Dusk Till Dawn, which has the most structural similarities to this. So From Dusk Till Dawn is a Robert Rodriguez movie with George Clooney and Quentin Tarantino actually as an actor. And it is they play these two brothers or I don't even remember if they're brothers or they are two criminals, and they kind of more or less kidnap a family and make them cross the border into Mexico, and then they go to a bar, like strip joint, a seedy, like really bad like part of town, and then it turns out that this bar or joint or whatever is actually full of vampires, and so they all turn at night and then they eat all the patrons. And so like that movie, I think, it's a B movie, it's a smaller movie, but it's one that like kind of it pulls the similar trick of like, you don't realize that this is a monster movie and it's not really alluded to until the turn happens, and all of a sudden people's necks are getting bitten and blood is gushing everywhere and people are making
Robert Rodriguez has such a fun style for like violence too. Like
oh yeah, it's an earlier one. It's like 96. It's a cool movie. Like it's yeah. So if you want to see like the trashier version of Sinners, you could watch From Dusk Till Dawn.
It is brothers, Seth and Richie Gick.
They are brothers. Yes. Okay. Yeah.
And it's written by Quentin Tarantino.
I was going to say, I didn't want to say that because I wasn't confident, but I was like, I'm pretty sure he like wrote.
Yeah, he wrote
a chunk of it,
but he Robert directed it. Beautiful. What else?
Yeah.
What else is in that alley? The
One that
dark
I
and scary
love
alley.
bringing up is Green Room, which is from 2015. I bring this up all the
Thanks.
time. I want more
Never
people
gonna
to see
watch
this
it.
movie.
No.
About a punk band that's trapped in a neo-Nazi like skinhead bar in Oregon, where the neo-Nazis are led by Patrick Stewart. So you get to watch Professor X play a neo-Nazi, and that's crazy. But it gives you that claustrophobic,
fun.
like these people have to fight their way out, intensity. It is maybe one of the more like gnarly movies I've ever seen. It is definitely not for the squeamish, but yeah. Yeah. Other than that, I mean, yeah, we mentioned a lot of other vampire movies. You should watch The Thing. We have an episode on that as well.
Definitely watch The Thing. Also,
Yeah.
Anchorman, if you like Will Ferrell.
Yeah, you should. Everybody should just watch Anchorman. We could just list other good movies. Watch Step Brothers.
Well, since he was
watch
in
Hot Rod.
I Am Legend, it's,
Yeah.
it's related. So, yeah. Anywho, no.
Yeah.
No, it's good. That's good. Dusk Till Dawn and Green Room for those intense psycho genre bending horror vibes. Yeah.
Watch
I will
30 Days a
say,
Night. Watch Blade. I mean, Blade's another
yeah,
movie.
there you go. I
Yeah,
think, you could just throw out some classic. I need to watch Blade.
There's actually a tidbit about this. So Ruth Carter, who I mentioned, who did like the costume design for Sinners, they were prototyping a version. Marvel Studios was prototyping a version of Blade that was going to be set in the American South. It was going to be a period piece, but then they ended up scrapping that amongst their dozen scrapped ideas. And so Ruth Carter actually went to Kevin Feige and was like, could I actually have those costumes back so I can reuse them for this Ryan Coogler movie? And then he said yes. So
the props
because Marvel couldn't get Blade off the ground, Ruth Carter was able to reuse a bunch of costumes for Sinners,
which is the same thing but an original movie instead of an IP franchise. That's hilarious. Like, wow, what a load off her shoulders. She's like, hey, if I can get them, we just got them all in a trunk back at Marvel.
Let me hop over to the Disney lot. Yeah.
Let me hop over to the Disney lot and see if I can just snag those pieces. That's fantastic. Well, this is great. I am excited to see One Battle After Another. I will watch it eventually. But I think this was a good choice for Bleeding Edge because I think One Battle After Another is considerably longer. It's like 3 hours.
It's 3 hours plus. I don't remember exactly how much more, but
yeah, it's like a long one.
This doesn't feel like it.
A good because a lot of people, have said movies are so long nowadays, and they're like, where's the 90-minute movies I used to watch sometimes? Back in our time of growing up, that was the norm. I feel like a 2-hour movie that engrosses you so much is hard to come by. So this was an enjoyable experience, and that's why I think Sinners was a good choice for fun to cover before Oscars. And you picked one that has record-breaking Oscar nominations. So there you go.
Yeah, it's like part of the discussion right now. Like that was the headline. One Battle After Another had 13 nominations, but you didn't hear that. You went to CNN.com and their front page news story about the Oscars was Sinners breaks the nominations record. I was listening to the radio the other day in here in my hometown, and the radio DJ was mentioning how they're going to be doing a screening of it at the library of Sinners, and mentioned that it had broken the record and stuff. And it's like, this is so funny to hear on this classic rock station. I was just trying to find Pink Floyd. And
that's a great vibe going to watch Sinners at the
Carnegie
library downtown.
Seriously.
Very curious as to how that would be.
Yeah, just don't let any kids in. So there you go. Well, thank you both for joining, David.
Always.
Thanks, guys.
You're welcome.
You're just staring at me like he's just going to end it, right? So we are so glad that you're here. And Chris, you have yet to mention as we close here, what's the next one officially? I think you.
Yes, the next one, David and I are going to take a little bit of time and just talk about the Oscars themselves, whether it be about this upcoming Oscars or just the kind of history of the awards, like why it matters. We're just kind of got to do a little Oscar special. I'm no expert in that myself, but I am a big fan, so
I'm
I'll
Oscar
do my best to
curious.
kind of cover it.
As Colb has said. Hilarious. As Colb has said, we are all learners on this podcast. So, that includes you, Chris. So if you can bring a little bit more knowledge for us to enjoy, and I'll come back and listen to it, as I'm editing it and all that fun stuff, and I'll learn a whole bunch. So come join us next time. We will be releasing that after this here episode. Well, not immediately. You got to wait a little bit. But the next one that we release will be about the Oscars. So come back to the Fun Bunker Film School to hear that. Have a great one.
Do 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 ah ah do do ah ah do do ah ah do do